About 2 years ago, some absolute idiot, some moron, some total buffoon decided to make a YouTube video titled, "The Gerrit Cole Yankees contract could be a mistake." A mistake, he said. In all caps, to really hammer in the narrative. Just a terrible take, and believe it or not, I actually happen to know the person who made this brain dead take.
Well, of course I know him. He's me.
Over the last several years, plenty of pitchers have gotten big contracts. The Max Scherzer Nationals contract he signed before the 2015 season is one of maybe the first blockbuster massive contract a pitcher got that I personally remember. David Price got his Red Sox contract a year after that, and it hasn't stopped there, of course. There have been plenty of superstar pitchers to since get big contracts, some that have worked out pretty well, others not so much. Max Scherzer's Nationals deal was basically perfect in a sense where he lived up to every bit of that deal. But ever since signing the 3-year Mets deal worth over $120 million, so about a $43 million annual salary, Scherzer just hasn't been the same. Steven Strasburg played a massive part in the Nationals' 2019 championship, gutting it out and pitching in some big games and winning World Series MVP before getting a 7-year, $245 million contract with the team. Since signing that contract after the 2019 season, Strasburg has thrown a total of 31 1/3 innings because of serious injury issues, not even pitching at all in 2023, recently announcing that he is retiring. After winning the 2020 Cy Young Award, Trevor Bauer signed the largest annual value contract ever for a pitcher, inking a 3-year deal with the Dodgers for over $100 million. Bauer is playing in Japan now before the Dodgers' contract has even officially run its course. Jacob deGrom, largely looked at as the best pitcher in baseball, maybe the greatest pitcher of all time with how ridiculously dominant and unhittable he was for years, signed a 5-year deal with the Texas Rangers worth $185 million, having to settle for Tommy John surgery a few months into his very first year of the contract. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm obviously making a point that a lot of, really most of, these big contracts for pitchers, starting pitchers in particular, have not necessarily worked out. The pitcher either starts regressing or gets hurt, and it just really makes the deals look bad. But through all of these tough deals and outcomes for teams dishing out all this money to these starting pitchers, there is one that is aged like fine wine, and that is the Gerrit Cole Yankees contract. When the Yankees went out and gave Gerrit Cole $324 million after the 2019 season, nobody really complained in a sense where they thought it would be a bad contract for the Yankees. It seemed like the most obvious big contract for a starting pitcher ever, considering just how ridiculously dominant Gerrit Cole was and has been for years. But we've seen this same kind of story before, no? A pitcher who is healthy and dominant getting a ton of money starts to regress or just deal with too many injury issues to ever be the same again. Not Gerrit Cole. Since the start of the shortened 2020 season, Gerrit Cole's first as a Yankee and the first of his new contract, Cole has made 107 starts, thrown 655 innings, has struck out 811 hitters, all with a 3.12 ERA. Really good stuff, obviously, and it's always been this way. Ever since his rookie season back in 2013, Gerrit Cole has been at least one of the best pitchers in baseball every year. It was expected it would be that way when he was drafted with the very first overall pick in the 2011 draft, and he'd go on to have a solid rookie season. His sophomore season, although having to miss some time in 2014 due to shoulder fatigue, he still managed to throw 138 solid innings and win 11 games for the Pirates. 2015 then came around and we saw the true Gerrit Cole everyone had been waiting for, as he'd make 32 starts, throw 208 innings with a 2.60 ERA, striking out over 200 hitters, getting named an All-Star for the first time, finishing 4th in the Cy Young voting, and getting the honors to start the National League wildcard game. It didn't go as well as planned, with Cole giving up a nuke to Kyle Schwarber, but it was now clear that Cole was the ace of this Pirates pitching staff moving forward. He'd missed some time in 2016 because of a right tricep strain, being limited to just 21 starts and 116 innings, pitching to a 3.88 ERA on the season, going on to pitch over 200 innings again in 2017, but with an ERA over 4 this time around. It wasn't a bad year by any means, but Cole was just not that lockdown ace he was expected to be. The Pirates, being in the midst of a rebuild, decided they could trade Cole and get value for him, so they did, to the Houston Astros before the 2018 season, and this is where he officially became a full-time elite ace. In 2018, Gerrit Cole was an all-star again, making 32 starts, throwing 200 innings with a 2.88 ERA on the year, winning 15 games for the Astros, struck out 276 hitters, had a 12.4 strikeouts per 9 ratio, the best in all of baseball that season, and as for 2019, 2018, he was only better. In 2019, Gerrit Cole made 33 starts, threw over 212 innings, struck out 326 hitters, the most in baseball, strikeouts per nine even higher from the year before at 13.8 now, the best in baseball, won 20 games, all with a 2.50 ERA. But not only that, from May 27th that season, all the way until Game 1 of the World Series, Gerrit Cole went without losing a game, without losing a single game, going 19-0 with a 1.59 ERA and 25 starts over the course of those 5 months. He was otherworldly. Despite this ridiculous greatness, he actually didn't win his first Cy Young Award, as his own teammate Justin Verlander took that award from him, having an insane year of his own. Cy Young Award or not, though, Gerrit Cole's 2019 season was unreal and a very ideal way to enter free agency, eventually becoming the richest starting pitcher in history with his Yankee contract. We're now pretty much done with year 4 of 9 of this contract, so how has it worked out so far? Well, to put things simply, Cole has been worth every cent. Gerrit Cole had a really good 2020 season, his first in pinstripes, making 12 starts, 2 of them where he went the distance, pitching every inning and throwing 73 innings overall in the shortened year with a 2.84 ERA. His first full year, 2021, was good too. 30 starts, 181 and a third innings, a 3.23 ERA, 2 more complete games, 16 wins, the most in the American League, while finishing second in the American League Cy Young voting. Now, there was the whole sticky stuff drama regarding Cole, and there was reason to believe Cole was regressing a bit or just not quite as good as advertised without using substances like Spider Tech to help spin the baseball better. In 2022, Gerrit Cole made 33 starts, the most in baseball, threw over 200 innings for the 5th time in his career, and struck out 257 hitters, the most in baseball. With that said, he did also give up the most home runs in the American League, getting taken deep 33 times. To be fair though, being prone to giving up homers wasn't necessarily new for Cole. Even in his historically ridiculous 2019 season, he gave up 29 home runs. So not ideal, but his 2022 season was still good despite the constant home runs. He had an ERA right at 3.5 on the year, and although that isn't bad, that's not necessarily what the Yankees are paying $36 million a year for. So going into 2023, I'll admit I'm a dumbass for not even having Gerrit Cole in my top 10 pitchers in baseball list. In fact, oh my god, this sounds terrible saying it now, I actually had Alek Manoah ahead of him.
You what?
Yeah, I know. I have a much more updated opinion on all of this. As the 2023 season comes to a close, something seems pretty clear to me, which is that Gerrit Cole is the best pitcher in baseball as of right now. Looking back at who I deemed better than Cole, Jacob deGrom. Although he is better, he can't stay on the field, so that alone makes Cole way more valuable right now. Sandy Alcantara had a down year and is now dealing with forearm tightness, getting shut down for the rest of 2023. Shohei Ohtani just recently tore his UCL, got surgery, and can't pitch until 2025. Corbin Burns just not having as good of a year as Gerrit Cole. He's filthy, don't get me wrong, and I'm still very high on Burns, but Cole is clearly the better pitcher right now. Framber Valdez, he's been great, eats a lot of innings, even threw a no-hitter this year, but Cole is better. Alek Manoah should go without saying. Not only was he terrible this year, but he recently just full-on quit on his team, not reporting to AAA and just calling it a season. Shane Bieber, nowhere near what he was when he won the Cy Young, and he's also been dealing with arm issues. Justin Verlander, although good, has been nowhere near as dominant as he was last year. Max Scherzer dealing with injuries and is now out for the year. And last but most certainly not least, Spencer Strider. Although he's made mostly every start, although he has the most strikeouts in baseball, and although he has the highest strikeout per 9 ratio in baseball, his ERA is at like 3.75. Now, the advanced stats do point to him getting unlucky. That's not a bad ERA, but like it's a little higher than what you would maybe think it would be for someone like him. But overall, the point is that although he is great, Gerrit Cole is still better. So that was my top 10 from 1 through 10. All guys who Cole has ended up having a better season than in 2023. And another thing, notice a trend between about half of that top 10. 5 of those guys have dealt with injury issues this year. Max Scherzer has always been a workhorse who's avoided that sort of thing, so with him being older, I guess it should be more expected now, but still. Half of my original top 10 have all been unreliable to even stay on the field. As for Gerrit Cole, that is a big reason as to why I look at him as the game's best right now. Not only does he throw hard, strike guys out, and have nasty stuff, but Cole stays healthy. He's never hurt, ever. So many of these pitchers, a lot of them being great, struggle with staying on the field to continue and show off that greatness, but not Cole. He's just incredibly valuable, not only in the sense where he is a good pitcher, because of course he is, but he's always healthy. It's not like the Yankees are good with this either. They've had a plethora of injuries this year, several of those injuries being to pitchers including the new big free agent signing Carlos Rodon. The Yankees are already a non-playoff team this year. Imagine them without Gerrit Cole. That's as scary to think about if you're a Yankee fan as imagining this offense without Aaron Judge. Bone-chilling stuff. Now, Cole being the best pitcher in baseball, at least from my point of view, could change by as soon as next year. Maybe now that I talked about it, he's going to start dealing with injuries or whatever, but as of right now, Gerrit Cole in his career has just been a never-ending run of dominance. Yes, he's had his moments that may hurt his reputation as a quote-unquote big game pitcher, like when he got rocked around in the wild card game against the rival Red Sox, but overall, he's been a good postseason pitcher too, along with his dominance in the regular season, pitching to an ERA below 3 in over 100 postseason innings. So to be the best pitcher in baseball, you have to be at least these two things: consistently great and healthy. And Gerrit Cole has mastered those two things up until this point in his career. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.